Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is John Henry Soto,
And I'm Pamela Soto.
and welcome to your Wholesome Journey Show. Hey, your big pajama top was on. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome. It is Sunday evening, 8 p.m., and we are on I think, our fourth. The dog is barking from upstairs. We just can't get a break.
Oh my gosh.
We finally handled our son. Our daughter is actually taking care of him, but now the dog upstairs decided to just bark. But it's okay. It's okay because the dog ain't gonna run in here. I don't think so.
No.
But this is our fourth show, I believe. Right? Is it a third or fourth? I don't know. You guys can tell us if you remember.
Maybe it is the fourth.
I think it's the fourth. I think it's the fourth. Maybe not. It's okay. And we had a great time. We've actually had a lot of people interacting. We've had other people on other platforms like Twitch, which has been great. Of course, all the Facebook pages has been really cool. And where else is it on YouTube and on the other one, Periscope. And so it's been really great. It's been a joy for us to try to give some tools that we use to kind of like deal with stuff, especially when we're dealing with tough situations. And what we're going to talk about today is definitely a tough situation because it has to do with the C word, criticism, right? Or as some people say, well, can I give you some constructive criticism? Which is never really a helpful flow. But sometimes people mean well, they just don't know how to communicate it properly, and that's where it becomes rough. So, but anyway, I'll talk about that because I talk a lot. So why don't I turn it over to you? Why don't you talk a little bit about what criticism does to you, or do you have a story or something on when you were you don't have to go too deep. Don't go into your childhood. Let's not get crazy here.
Well, yeah. I remember several times when I was criticized for my art from teachers. Well, I mean, like when I was in school, it wasn't like a real criticism. It was just the grade they gave me wasn't very good. So I thought, okay, so not really going to be an artist, can't really do this. And then remember when we worked at the 92nd Street Y?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then
That's where we met.
Yes, someone there told me my work was fundamental.
Fundamental. Wow. I know who that was, but we won't mention
yes.
her name.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody knows it's she.
And then it's just what I can't remember like a real like story to tell, but yeah, it just stops you from thinking of pursuing it further. And well, it made me think that just wasn't my thing and just try something else and move on. And just yesterday, I was reading an article about talent for artists. And it was saying you don't actually, it's not like all about talent. And you don't even have to have like talent in art. You have to work hard and be consistent, and then you know the talent comes. And people think, oh well, I've got talent, so I don't really have to work hard, and then they're not successful. So yeah, it's not everything, you know, and that's for a lot of things as well. And it's part of it, but it's not like even half, I wouldn't say, or all of it.
Yeah, I think it's also where I personally think everybody is born with talent.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, every single person is born with talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we talked a little bit about this in past shows where the skill level is what you have to kind of like
Mm-hmm.
develop your talent so
Mm-hmm.
it can be either marketable or so you can be comfortable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
People are talented but maybe don't feel comfortable doing it in front of
Right.
people or having it shown,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the
Mm-hmm.
actual uh, thing is. And I think that that's really another element of it where you have to, kind of say, okay, I have this talent. And the criticism, I mean, it obviously works differently on other people, right? There are people that use it as fuel, right? They get criticized, they use it as fuel to go out there and do even better, right?
Mm-hmm.
This thing I have on my shirt. Don't look at that. So, there was a story with Steve Martin, the famous comedian,
Mm-hmm.
and he was writing and he was doing some stand up, and somebody told him, he was like, Steve, this was early on, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and early on, Steve, you should just stick to the writing and stuff because the stand up, it's just not
Really?
gonna work for you. It's not
Oh
gonna
my
work.
gosh.
And but Steve Martin kind of looked at that as saying like, okay, that's my badge of honor.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
my thing. He turned out, he ended up becoming one of the most famous and wonderful stand-up comedians,
Mm-hmm.
and he walked away at the height. I mean, he was one of the first comedians that was doing, like, he was really one of the ones that took comedy to stadiums, to like
Mm-hmm.
arenas, like these huge giant
Wow.
concerts and
He was
stuff.
one of the first?
Yeah, he was like one of the first in the
Oh,
70s. Like, it
wow.
was just, he was massive, filling up like, but he knew that, that he was more than that. He was an actor and a writer.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great
Mm-hmm.
writer as well. But he took that as a badge of honor, and just instead of saying that that's going to stop me, he just used it as fuel,
Mm-hmm.
which I think for me, that's I didn't know I was doing that when I was in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, because I was playing guitar, blues guitar. Nobody was doing that in the blue, in the Bronx, and I got made fun of a couple times.
You did?
Yeah,
For playing guitar?
for yeah, yeah,
Wow. Why?
because nobody did that, and I wasn't playing the music that was popular in the mid '80s was the birth of hip hop, right? Because hip
Mm-hmm.
hop was Run DMC, El Cool J, all those greats,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. I loved all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and I was in the scene. I was a little
Mm-hmm.
ghetto celebrity with my breakdancing, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
great time. But when I would go home, I would listen to the blues. I would listen to jazz. I would listen to BB King.
Mm-hmm.
BB King at the Regal, which is an incredible live album, which I had the cassette, and I would just play it till it warped,
Mm.
and but if people would come over and see I had a guitar and I'm listening to this music, they'd be like, "What is that? What is that?" I had somebody say that once, like,
What?
because I was playing something. It was actually not even like it was a Simon and Garfunkel song. I was like,
That's
I, was,
folk, right?
I know, it's just folk music from the '60s. I'm playing it, and somebody's, "What is this?" It was like, "Are you going to
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Scarborough Fair?" And it's like a very
Mm-hmm.
mellow,
Melodies.
yeah, song, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Melancholy sort of,
Oh.
and they just didn't understand it, and I remember looking at them all weird, like, that's Simon and Garfunkel, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember thinking, you're just such a moron for not even knowing that.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it wasn't the thing, so I did get a lot of
Mm-hmm.
criticism, but I was lucky that my grandparents and my mom were supportive and stuff, and that was always a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Brian Pollock here. Fight against the grain. That's right. That's awesome. Shows true character. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. And actually, I'm gonna be in Brian's film
Oh wow.
called The Collector. So thank you,
Awesome.
Brian.
Yay.
Appreciate. I was gonna send you a message and a photo about this thing. If you want me to shave this, because this is my COVID thing. But yeah, thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. So that's what it did for me, and it went on as I got older, and it still goes on. I mean, remember, we're in the business of being looked at and
Mm-hmm.
judged.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, what's the hardest part for you? Like, right after, do you feel like you want to stop?
What do you mean? Right after what?
He says, "Love it, keep it."
Uh,
Thanks.
no, you should have said get rid of it.
She was trying to get me there. I was like, "Hey, it's whatever Brian wants, man. If he says it's part of the character, I'm gonna keep it in, man. Sorry. So right after you get criticized, by anything, it's not even sometimes it's not even like a criticism. Sometimes it comes as a form of like help or something, or constructive criticism, right? Somebody who cares about you, because you have to be able to. And I'm going to talk about this, but anyway, let me leave that here, and then I'm going to talk about something specific.
So, what was your question?
I don't remember. What happens right after somebody says something that makes you feel bad, like a criticism or something that
It makes me doubt myself.
just right instantaneously makes you doubt yourself?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think that in the past it was worse than it is now. I think now I feel a lot more secure, and I feel like I have a lot more stuff to stand on, I guess. So I haven't really been criticized lately, though. So that was in the past, really.
That's
So,
good. That's
yeah.
good. Yeah, you're right, and it's also confidence too. Like when you have confidence, it almost doesn't hit you as much, because you're
Right.
so above
Yeah.
that it's like you don't get it. I mean, I still get a lot of criticism, and I still get a lot of, because I do a lot of different things, so it hits me, but it never affects me, because um, for me it's more of a not necessarily that I think that I'm above it or anything like that, but I am above the criticism, because it also depends on how it hits me and who's doing it. So if somebody that I really trust, like a good friend of mine, says, you know what, maybe you should try this, or that's not a criticism, right? That might be a suggestion or something,
Right.
But there's criticism that comes in and goes. Sometimes they'll be like, John, I care about you and stuff. I think you're a good guy and stuff, but I think you're doing too much of this, or maybe you shouldn't do that, or and I immediately now, because of my years of training in our religion, years of that, I'm able to kind of spot it really quickly and be like, and that's fine. I'll just go, oh, okay, yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna do this. Or sometimes I'll be like, nah, you're wrong. I know what I'm doing.
Well, like,
hey, Marjorie.
Thanks, Marjorie.
Hey, I'm gonna flash this because she says, "Man, you are looking good." Hey.
Thank you. So, but what I was gonna say is, lately I have my day job of teaching English to language learners. So, like, my bosses evaluate me, and they come and watch me teach,
true, right?
and they give their input. So usually it's really good, but like one time, like I wasn't happy with what they said, and I got all upset, and I wrote this whole paragraph like explaining what happened or whatever, and then it was like, I don't know, it's like, you didn't understand what was happening, because like I thought I explained this to you already. And then after I sent another email, like, I apologize, but I think during when you're learning something new and trying to figure things out, sometimes it's like, with I'm learning the online remote teaching, and it's a whole new thing, and you're trying your best, and then when somebody says, well, you didn't do this or whatever, then you like get really defensive, or I do sometimes. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult. I do that. I get like that too. I mean, because I work hard at learning, right? I love learning, and I love diving in and trying to figure something out. But sometimes I struggle with that, So it's like, depending on what it is, if I'm trying to learn something and it's not fully there, and then somebody says, criticizes me on that, then I'm trying to figure it out, That's been a thing for me. Also, for me growing up, I think also I was always misjudged in and what I can do or what I do. Even as an actor, like my agents and managers I've had in the past have always didn't really understand what I can do or my abilities as an actor, or so they send me out on auditions that I knew I shouldn't be in there, and it was a weird it's always a weird experience to be in a room
Mm-hmm.
full of people that you're like, I shouldn't be in here. So already you're going in defeated,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that also is not necessarily criticism, but it's also you yourself not being confident enough to really explain
Right.
who you really are and what
Mm-hmm.
you're capable of, and that comes from past criticisms,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of made me feel like, well, maybe they know best. They're
Right.
sending me out for
Mm-hmm.
these roles and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a quirky actor, and I know that that's my place, and I don't have a problem with it. I like doing those kind of
Mm-hmm.
interesting, weird, quirky characters, but I don't feel like I'm gonna get typecast. I was just watching something. I'm gonna go off a little bit just on something, but I was watching a video on Ted Danson from Cheers. He played Sam Malone, and somebody had mentioned to him saying, aren't you afraid of getting typecast? And he was just like, no, he's like, f you for thinking that. I decide what I do, what roles I do. I decide I make my own journey. I'm on the journey. I dictate it where it goes. And I thought that was really cool of him, to really understand that, first of all, being typecast means that you did something so well,
Mm-hmm.
right? You did something so well that
Mm-hmm.
people say you should keep doing that because that really works for you. So there's really nothing wrong with being typecast.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, as I'm a writer, so I can write whatever I want to write. I can put
Mm-hmm.
myself as the leading superhero guy if I want to, and if somebody wants to shoot it, I'm gonna shoot it, and I'm gonna be the superhero romantic lead in a whatever, and I have done that. I've
Mm-hmm.
played the romantic lead on things that I've written myself, because I can, so criticisms for me, like early on, especially in acting, um, kind of made me realize that I had to figure out what I was going to do to overcome that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really what you have to do as an artist. You have to kind of figure out what it is that you're being told and what it is that you need to take from it, because some of it you may be able to use it, and you may be able to say, well, maybe they have a point on this thing, maybe they communicated like assholes, maybe they shouldn't have said it the way they said it,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe they have a point, and
Mm-hmm.
so you have to be really, 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 really confident and aware of yourself and be in present time and understand what's being told to you, so you can really dissect it, so you don't become the adverse effect of it, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of become get um depressed, by
Mm-hmm.
it and stuff, um so growing up for you, for me it was, challenging, because in school, again, there was nobody did the things that I started doing. I was a break dancer, and I was very successful at that, and I danced a lot of different shows, and I did a
Other people did that though.
but not people in my neighborhood. Like, I was a rare thing in my neighborhood. I was, yeah, it was a lot of people doing it when we go
Mm-hmm.
to the shows,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't like, I danced for the mayor, I danced for a bunch of contests and won a bunch of stuff. So that was rare. And then I started picking up playing the guitar. So that was rare.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff was just a rare thing. So I was up against the wall from a very young age. So I got used to it. As I got older, I was just like, well, I'm gonna still try this anyway because I
Mm-hmm.
just want to.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, when you were young, in school, were you a painter? Were you going in that direction?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Well, when I was in third grade, I got the award from my art teacher for
Wow.
I forgot what it was, like one award for the whole grade, and I got it for
Wow.
art.
That's cool. I didn't even know that. See?
Yeah, I don't remember what the title was exactly, but
Award of the best, greatest artist ever on earth. I think that was it.
But I remember I was sitting next to my friend Kayla, and I'm like, Kayla, it's gonna be you. And then it was me. So I was like, I didn't
Wow.
know. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I'm sure Kayla felt great. Um, so, so, but you did feel, so you had an early success in art. You knew that was something that you wanted to be doing. As I know, as you got older, you had certain uh, things that made you feel bad about it,
Mhm.
as you were telling
Well,
me.
when I was, I think, 9 or 10, I started drawing floor plans of houses,
That's right.
and so I mean, I don't know if that's considered art, but
Absolutely.
it's very like I would get these ideas of floor plans in my head, and I just couldn't go on until I got them out of my head onto paper. And I would think about them, and I would sit in my chair and not get up for hours, just drawing my floor plans.
Wow.
And Yeah, this went on for years. And I would think of single family houses mostly, sometimes apartment complexes. And I would get graphing paper and draw them with a pencil and ruler and eraser, and just that was before you could do it on a computer. And I would try to get like my idea in my head onto the paper and make everything work out nicely. I would have lots of ideas on it, and my mom told me I was wasting time, and she said, everything I've thought of, I'm sure someone else has already thought of. So don't waste your time. Why don't you go get up and go play? And
Does your mother watch this show?
no, I'm sure she doesn't. She probably forgot she said that anyway. Um, but
Gonna be a fun Christmas gathering next year. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, I think also, in the defense of anyone that does say something, I think they just don't want to see their child getting hurt. They don't want to see their child being disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
They know that being an artist is a tough business, and there's a lot of judgment and a lot of criticism. So
Mm-hmm.
it may be a defense of herself. She may
Yeah.
be just defending herself
Yeah, I'm sure it
by
is.
saying that. Yeah. So I think that happens a lot. I mean, my grandmother was kind of rough.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother thought that if I became a musician, all my uncles were musicians, but they were all kind of like, they were drinkers, and they were great
Mm-hmm.
men, great fathers and grandfathers and husbands and everything. But they were drinkers, and I think my grandma thought that if I was going to go that route, that I was going to become a drinker,
Mm-hmm.
which I did. I became a drunk. No, I'm
John.
just kidding. I never actually really, I never even wanted to go that route. But
You should
I
have
think,
just been a comedian, John.
yeah, right. I should like make movies.
John, no,
Oh wait, I am in movies.
done some
Um,
stand up.
no, I'm not doing stand up. People keep telling me that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but my grandmother was really rough. She would actually say things that were not nice. But again, in her defense, it had a lot to do with the fact that she just didn't. She knew what her uncle or her brothers did,
Mm-hmm.
my great uncles, and I think they were just, but they were great. They were just and great musicians too.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandfather was super supportive. My
Mm-hmm.
grandpa bought me my first guitar when I was 9, encouraged me, bought me books. He was just always very, very supportive. My mom was also extremely supportive, would come to all my gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had this very distinctive cough. It wasn't like a hacking smoker's cough, but she would go, she would do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go wherever I was in a club somewhere. Wherever she was, she would go, so I would know where she's sitting
Ah.
because I always recognize her cough.
Mm-hmm.
So she would do that sound, and I would look and I'll wave and stuff when I was on stage, whatever. But she always did that. So she was very supportive. My brother, my sisters, super supportive. So I was lucky in that respect. It wasn't really. I think a lot of judgment for me and criticism didn't come till later. Till my 20s and 30s of things. That really then affected me in a really bad way and stuff. Where I think just probably the last 5 years, really I've managed to kind of crawl out and realize my abilities and what I'm supposed to be doing and what I can do,
Mm-hmm.
and then start moving and having Pamela now in the same boat, basically, creating art. I think it just makes this a lot easier for me to confront, and for her, it's definitely easier to confront. I also know what she's going through, so it's easier for, if she's going through something, that I can say, "Well, that's just kind of BS, don't listen to that person," or don't listen to even yourself. Sometimes you have to kind of like realize where that part of the mind is that's not speaking rational things. Um, And so that's been actually being been working for us a lot, and it's a blessing. So that's our talk on criticism and being judged. One of the main things is, really you have to sit down and find out what it is that you want. That's really the main thing. Find out what your goals are, write them down. And then work backwards, right? Reverse engineer, as they say, to that. Like, what do you have to do to get there? You want to write songs, you want to create films, you want to, whatever it is that you want to do. Make sure that that is documented and that you're actually following a plan, because people will try to move you onto their plan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because everyone has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody sees somebody, hey, he's really capable, maybe I can have him help me with my thing,
Or
and
maybe something worked for them, so
work
they
for
think
them.
you should do it that too.
Right. And sometimes it's not like that. You can listen to everyone, you can take
Mhm.
their advice, you can research what they're saying, so make sure that what they're saying is accurate.
Mhm.
And then you have to make really a judgment call, and you have to take a risk, because there is no way. And one of the things that I always say is, what's the thing, right? I always talk about the thing. Like, if we all knew what the thing was to be
Mhm.
successful, we would just do that one thing. But
Mhm.
we don't know, so we keep doing things, and then one of those things becomes successful, so we do more of that thing. And then when we want to do something else, we try other things. And that's the whole point, is you have to keep going, keep going, keep going. And the failures are not really failures, they're just learning moments, and things that you just draw from, and you say, okay, next time I'm not going to do that again. And listening to others sometimes is part of that failure. You have to kind of say, what, I'm not really going to listen to that person anymore, because their advice was not good.
Mhm.
It didn't come from a good place, and it felt like it didn't make me feel good. And I think that's the bottom line.
Mhm.
The Maya Angelou, right? Her famous quote, where she says, people won't remember what you said, they won't remember what you did, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
Mhm.
And that's so important, because sometimes you can have a whole conversation with somebody and you leave and you don't feel good after that conversation. You're like, why do I not feel good? You don't really know what they said. You don't even know what they did, but you don't feel good. And other times you have a little quick conversation with somebody and you feel really good, and you feel uplifted. And that's what I try to do when I meet people. I try to make them feel good about themselves. I try to ask them questions. I try to get involved in their lives, and to see if there's anything that I can provide value into their lives, because I'm fine. If somebody wants to help me, that's awesome. And I always ask for help if I need it. But I also want to just provide value. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing this show.
Mhm.
Also is because I talk a lot, and this is a good way for me to get some more stuff out. If not, I'll just be talking in the kitchen like this. Probably be like, I'm trying to do my work.
Mhm.
Yeah, but listen to me, because what I was saying was, anyway.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm, vodka. So,
Vodka shot. The drinker.
she's like, so anyway, I want to thank
I
everybody.
gotta show my face.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I'm going to thank everybody and what we do at the end of every show. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for participating, and for your likes and everything. But what we do is we're going to end off always with one of Pamela's pieces. This is actually one of the popular pieces that I believe this piece was purchased. A print of this was purchased by a friend of mine for his wife, right?
Yes. Yes. Surprise.
Yeah, surprise for his wife, and it looks gorgeous. They showed it to us, and it was great. Marjorie says, "Hold on, question." Oh, okay. Shoot the question. Why don't you show it while she writes the question? You can show your piece.
Okay. So this one is called Window Box White.
Oh, there's the green again.
Oh, you gotta take that off.
Let me take the green screen out. Green screen will screw up everything. Green screen. Oh, now it's really good.
All right. So this is called Window Box White. And it is let me see. Is that good? Wait, it's so hard with the opposite thing. So that's this is 11 by 14 acrylic, and I made this with a straw. So I blew out all of it with a straw.
Yeah, it looks like flowers blooming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So cool.
that's why it's called window box, because it's like in a window box, you know.
Yeah.
And
Watch that water over there.
okay, yeah. And so I really like all this combination. And I like how the colors all blended together. And I would like to make some more of these because a lot of people like this one. And yeah, I like how, yeah, like the green and the red and oh, and the paints that I use are Arteza paints, and they have a really good hue. And um, you don't have to use as much because it's like um, they're really good paints. So that's why.
Cool. Cool. Thank you very much for that. And we have a question here by Marjorie. Question is, what would be the best solution to handle the criticism? Um, well, I think that the main thing to handle the criticism is really you have to do some training yourself. I mean, like you have to really, and I talk about finding a philosophy or a religion or some type of method that really will make you feel um, give you the abilities, give you the tools to handle criticism because it's a rough world out there, and for us, our studies and our religion really gives us a great, strong foundation. We practice our religion heavily and we're constantly learning about ourselves and just really increasing our abilities to be able to confront that whatever hits our space. So it really it's from within. You have to find something that's going to give you that strength that you can take that criticism and be like, oh, I got it, and move on. And you don't have to receive communication that you don't want. So if somebody is constantly being on you, you don't have to accept that communication. It is your right as a human being to accept the communication that you desire. And if you do not desire someone's communication, you can say, you know what, I don't like what you're saying. I apologize for saying this, but I really don't think you should talk to me anymore. That might be rough, but you know what? Sometimes you have to do that, and I have done that. I've blocked people, deleted people. I've told people straight up. I was like, you know what? I just don't really think that this friendship is really gonna, we're breaking up, because it really is just not gonna work. So, first of all, you have to, the best solution to handle any criticism is personal development. Find personal development in something in your life. For us, it's Scientology. I've been in for 26 years. She's been 20 years at least, right? 2020. Yeah, it's going to be 20 years. And that's given us the tools, if anybody ever has any questions on it, I know there's stuff out there that's garbage, that it's all BS. If you have any questions on it, you could always message me. I'll show you videos. I'll talk to you, answer any question about anything that you've ever heard about anything on earth. I will answer fully and completely honest and let you know exactly how it's actually enriched our lives and helped us handle criticism and it's not to say that we don't feel bad sometimes, you know what I mean? Because that's not a normal thing. We actually do sometimes feel bad, and sometimes we're just like, oh man, it freaking sucks, man. This didn't work, or that sucks over there, But we always know that we have a foundation. We have a strong foundation to hold us up. And if you don't, that criticism really shakes, because if your foundation is shaky to begin with, that criticism is going to knock you over, and it's going to really prolong your the time that for you to reach success, if you ever even get there, because a strong foundation would really help. So that's what I say with artists. Don't listen to the lies, starving artists nonsense. People who say, well, I'm a starving artist and it's New York City, well, you got to be a starving artist. That's all BS and stuff. and it's a little bit scary when you're out there, because you do know that there are people that are intentionally don't want you to do well, because they're afraid you do well that you'll leave them behind or some weird thing, or they don't want, you know, I don't know, what's some
Make
kind
them
of,
look bad.
yeah, make them look bad, or some kind of weird
Yeah.
mental kind of thing, whatever. um but that's on them, really, and that's another thing. When somebody criticizes you, the criticism is on them, really. It's not on you. It reflects more on them than it does to you. So anyway, that's just, for me, that's my handling. The best solution for me is to find that foundational thing, whether it's your religion, a philosophy. Some people do yoga and feel better. Some people eat right. Some people exercise, and just have a good foundation where they know that if they get criticized in one thing, that they know they have this solid thing to fall back on. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marjorie. I appreciate the question. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Um, yeah. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back again next Sunday, and we're trying to find topics to talk about. So if anybody has any suggestions, you can always email us. You can email me at johnhenrysoda at protonmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know, hey, John, maybe you should talk about this or talk about that, whatever it is. You could also message me on any social media stuff. And as always, if you're interested in any of the artwork, yourwholesomejourney.com is where all that piece that she just showed, including all the other pieces, and you can get pieces like that really big and on any kind of canvas with really cool frames, and it's really awesome. So and it just lights up your world, and that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to light up your world and make your environment better, and that's what we're doing. So there you go. All right. Thank you, folks. I talked a lot. Do you want to say anything before we wrap up?
I thought you were gonna
I'm
say
like,
goodbye.
no, I don't know. I mean, I say goodbye, but I just feel like I'm hogging the screen, and I'm gonna be here in the morning for my 7 a.m. show.
Okay. Well,
So I do a lot of talking.
Okay, we had like can I tell them about what we were talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what it was. Lord,
Okay,
help
so
me.
I said I would like to talk about frames and framing things.
Yeah.
And for our next show.
See, I was okay.
So, because I think that's something maybe people, I don't know, maybe people are fine. Maybe they already know how to do it, but
I mean, this is what my thoughts. My thoughts are that when you're framing, that's a technical thing of the art, right? So in this format here, when we're sitting side by side talking, it's very difficult to show certain things of frames. You can show pieces of frames, but I would think that would be more of a Instagram live, where you can go live and you can do an hour of actually you making a frame or putting a frame together.
I don't mean how to make a frame.
I'm talking framing.
I'm talking about how to find a frame for your artwork, to buy a frame.
Oh.
I'm not talking about making them.
Thank you, Marjorie. You said she loves your art.
Thank you, Marjorie.
So you're talking about, I thought you were talking about making frames.
No. I barely know how to do that myself.
That's what I thought you were doing.
Why would I give something I don't know
I thought because you have made them.
Well, I made one.
Yeah, but it came out really good. So I thought, that to me is good.
Yeah. Well, I meant because
miscommunication.
Yeah. Because okay, so I'm getting I'm framing a piece of my work. I'm trying to decide if I should put it on paper or on canvas, and pretty sure I want to frame it no matter if it's paper or canvas. And I was looking at all the options and all the online stores. I haven't gone to any in-person stores, but I never really did that before. And it's, there's so much to know and so much to learn, like standard sizes, custom sizes.
Yeah, I didn't know that that's what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
So okay, so then you could do that. That's different. Yeah. I mean, if we, if you would find that helpful, like the purpose for this show, I thought would be for us to provide some type of a value to people based on what we're currently the journey that we're on, right? We're on a your wholesome journey show, right? So it's like the journey that we're on with all the stumbling blocks and some of the doubts and stuff and the criticism that like we talked about today
Mhm.
and everything else. So um but if looking for frames and different types of artwork and different types, we should do a show just on that,
Mhm.
and I can interject, my humor.
Well, would that be helpful for anybody? I mean,
I think it would be. I mean, if
I'm asking them if there's
yeah,
anybody listening.
yeah. Well, I think they can send us messages. You can
Mhm.
always email us again. You can email me at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com. Um, email me if you think that's a good suggestion, and we will do a show on framing, and maybe we can add some other things because I think framing wouldn't take up a whole. Or maybe it can. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. It'd be like me talking about guitars, right? Like if I did a show just talking about pickups, I could do a whole hour
But it's
show.
not a
I
technical
know,
thing.
but it's. I'm just telling you that's the way I'm thinking. Or if I'm talking about guitars and different types of, like if I'm talking about a Telecaster or a Les Paul, the body type, right? That's
Mhm.
not technical. That's just the shape.
Mhm.
So do you like the Telecaster or the? So that to me is,
Well, like,
I could do a 3 hour show on just that, but I could
but
talk
for
about it.
if people want to frame their art and they don't know anything about where to get it,
Yeah,
you
and the
know,
different types, and
yeah,
we could show the website,
yeah,
and we can go show different frames, right?
yeah. I
Can
mean,
we
I'm
do
not
that?
saying I'm not saying that they have to get the frame off my website.
No, I know,
I'm
but
saying that there's a lot of places to go and a lot of things to decide and things
right.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. So we
Mhm.
could definitely do that. And I'll find something to talk about. You know me, I could do a 3 hour show on mayonnaise because there's Hellman's,
Mhm.
right? There's
Mhm.
anyway. All right, folks. Thank you very much. We will be back next week. If we hear from anyone else letting us know about any suggestions, we will take those on. My email is right there. Just send me an
Mhm.
email, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you all. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your week ahead. I will see you all during the week. And as always, you want to do it with me? Peace.